Counting down to what has been quite a polarized day of trade. On one hand, you've had the Nifty and the Sensex that have held up. On the other hand, the mid-cap index is down about 0.5%, and the Bank Nifty is a completely different story. It's just found a new set of wings and is up almost about 1.5%. Let's get some final calls in before we wrap up for the day. Kunj, specifically on a stock like IndusInd Bank, you know, it had its own problems. It's been a big underperformer, but now over the past 2 months, it's gone from 1,400 to almost 1,700. You know, and it's topping the charts right now as well. Is this a stock that still deserves some money to put into in the near term?
Yeah, so as we all know, the stock, after having been a sharp outperformer over the last few years, got affected by its exposure to the ILFS, which it reveals in its quarterly numbers. And that's where we saw the sharp sell-off coming in the stock, and the stock taking a knock of almost 20-25%. In fact, wiping out its almost 2 years return at that point of time. Now, in this current calendar month, we have already seen about $1 billion of global funds coming in. We saw a good amount of FII flows coming in February also, and domestic flows are continuing. So obviously these flows are, as a first instance, looking to go into the large cap liquid names, and within that the stocks where the valuations have corrected. And that's where I think IndusInd Bank featured in. With this recent rise, I don't think now the too much of the valuation gap or the valuation comfort is left. So probably it's time to switch over to, as we were discussing earlier also, within the same space of private sector corporate lenders, let's say ICICI Bank would be the one bet. And then from there, if one were to still diversify, although Axis Bank is expensive than ICICI, but that would be the next choice.
Okay, got it. 3 more minutes to go before the day comes to an end. Sudarshan, what would the call be on the Bank Nifty now? I know you were telling us a while back that one should exercise a bit of caution, but what would the strategy be, the levels to watch out for tomorrow?
See, the Nifty Bank is almost at 29,000. And my own sense is that tomorrow is FNO expiry and we can see a lot of volatility. So a dip towards 28,700, 200 points from here would be a buying opportunity. If that happens tomorrow, we'll be alert to a short-term buy.
Okay. Mitesh, even if there is some volatility over the next few days, overall, do you think this is a market that is trending much higher? And what would be the levels, the markers either way on the index?
I did mention that I started with 11,250 as the target and then revised it to 11,470, 500. Clearly, I think the strength has been much more than what I anticipated. We're extremely overbought, but yet we continue to go up. So I think we are very likely to hit this levels of 11,500 or thereabouts in the next few days. But whether it will happen immediately or whether it will happen with a pullback because we've run away too far from the averages is something which I'm not able to answer. Logically, if you get a dip, you should buy it, but otherwise just keep trailing your stop loss on whatever you have.
Okay. And your strategies, you did have a call on BEML. That stock surged quite a bit. Anything else in the broader market just before we wrap that catches your eye as a further buy?
I think both me and Sudarshan had a call on Pidilite, and I think it's moved up about 7, 8, 10 rupees from there. But I think even at current levels, it looks very good. I think it's starting a new trend. I gave it as a BTSP call, but positionally, I think this is heading towards 1240, 1250 zones.
Okay, well, gentlemen, we have about 1.5 minutes left to go for the day to end. So let's just quickly wrap up how the day has shaped up. It's been a good day, no two ways about that. It's just that the mid-cap end of the market has been sulking. There's been some profit taking there. The advanced decline ratio closes in favor of declines. So it seems to be more like a large cap driven rally that this market is seeing, at least for the last few days. The Bank Nifty was clearly the star of the day, up almost 460 points, led by names like IndusInd Bank, Yes Bank. Of course, the HDFC twins, HDFC Bank itself was up almost about 3% today. ICICI Bank and HDFC also rallied about 1% or so. So that was a big start, the Bank Nifty and the stocks there. Apart from that, you had Reliance Industries that has been contributing to the moves. In fact, this year, Reliance Industries has already given you 20% returns. HUL is the other one that looked pretty good. Some of the auto stocks like Bajaj Auto, Eicher Motors, etc. also close in the green today. On the downside, though, you had telecom names like Bharti Airtel that came off down about 4%. Sun Pharma, in fact, a lot of pharmaceutical stocks, not just Sun Pharma, but you had a couple of others like Cipla, It also closed with deep cuts today. Apart from that, Indiabulls Housing Finance and some of these Tata Group stocks like Tata Steel, Tata Motors, etc. also go home in the red. But really, the broader markets have been peppered with a lot of red stocks. In fact, the mid-cap index goes home with a cut of 0.5%. Led by a lot of the metal names, SAIL is down 4.5%. You have PSU banking names, IDBI Bank, etc. that have been under pressure. JSW Steel, CG Power, Dish TV, Rel Power, Coal India, etc. are all under pressure in trade, or rather close in the red. On the upside, Just Dial was one stock that had a big rally today, and then names like BEL, HPCL, Ashok Leyland, and some of these other banks like Federal Bank, etc. are up in the green. So that brings us to the end. Kunj, just quickly get a sense from you on, a couple of stocks that you're bullish on now. Any non-index large caps that feature in your list?
Non-index large cap, not necessarily large cap, but amongst the non-index mid caps, I think Crompton Consumer is one stock which looks good. The stock, again, in terms of price return, has not given any return for last 2 years, largely led by relatively slower growth that it had been seeing post demonetization. The whole sector and this company in particular, now the growth rates are likely to pick up. The margins had also gone down in between. They are also again likely to pick up. And that is where I think that given the uncertainty of the election coming in, wherein the investment related space tends to get affected much more than the consumption related space. So that's an idea that looks worth investing.
Okay, gentlemen, thanks a lot for joining us.